Hello, welcome back to Paul's Stuff. This is my space on YouTube where I get to talk about all the things I love. Lots of Star Wars, lots of lightsabers, and today, first time in a long time, I think it's about 6 months now since I bought a new saber. I've bought a new saber. I've been back to my favourite saber retailer, Padawan Outpost, and I bought the new Baylan Skoll lightsaber hilt from them. This one is in Xeno3 Pixel, as is my preference. I really like the Xeno3 boards. Does everything I need it to do. This is also the weathered version. Can't say I'm 100% sold on the weathering on it. I think it's maybe a little dark. I might go over it in places and scratch it up a little bit more myself. But on the whole, I'm really happy with this lightsaber. Haven't done much with it yet because what I want to do today is run through a little bit about how I set these up. So I will be showing you some of the accessories that I use with it, blade plug, that sort of thing. I'm going to be swapping out the battery in this. I'm going to be putting in a different SD card with some custom fonts on it. Now, as far as I'm aware, this comes with the 32 standard fonts that Nexus Sabers come with. There are 32 fonts on there, so plenty to choose from, but as far as I'm aware, there isn't a Baylan Skoll specific font included in that. I have a couple of fonts from KSith and from Kyberphonic that are specifically Baylan Skoll fonts. Now, if you want to see how I add sound fonts to these sabers, I have a video on that. In fact, for any of the technical side of things, I suggest you go to my channel's page and look at the playlist for technical help for lightsabers. You'll find everything there that I've done so far on the Xeno3, including how to put on sound fonts, how to set up the board, how to use the app. I'm going to be doing that a little bit today because one of the things that I'm fairly sure I'm going to have to do with this is update this to the latest software version. So I'm going to show you how to do that using the app. Fairly sure I'm going to have to do that because the new software version came out fairly recently. We're now on version 1.2.5, and I expect this has probably got 1.2.2 on it. That was the previous version. So I'm going to do all of those things. I'm going to show you how to give the saber a name in the app as well. But for now, let's have a look at this thing. So it's a really nice saber. The sabers from Ahsoka are all great looking sabers, and Baylan Skoll's is really no exception. It's a great looking saber. We'll have a look in a moment, but this one has a removable core, making it very easy to remove the battery, either for charging or to put a new battery in. It also makes removing the SD card really simple. And it's that nice Nexus removable core system where you don't have to align anything to put the saber back together. The saber just goes in, the core just goes in. So let's turn this on. At the moment, this is pretty much as it came from the factory. I have turned it on I have had a little play with it, so it's not on the original sound font that it came on. But if there are, I think, 32 sound fonts on here as it comes from the factory.
Power on.
So when you turn on the saber by pressing the button and holding it, it will say power on as from the factory. Then one press will ignite the saber. We've got smooth swing on here. Blast the block. There are a number of things that don't come switched on from the factory. So one of those is the button bleep. So if we go into, this won't let us because we haven't got a saber connected, I don't think. Yeah, we need to connect a saber, but if you go into the blade settings, there's a countdown switch now on the app. If you flick that, you can turn on the countdown. What that does is make the button bleep when it's pressed. The menus on these rely on timings. The button will bleep to give you that timing. There's no illuminated button on this. When you have an illuminated button on one of these sabers, the button flashes as well. But the button bleep is really handy, and we'll see that when I put the other SD card into here, because that is set up as I like these sabers to be set up. So there's a few other things that you might need to turn on here. Again, they're in this blade setting. I will show you them when we get into the app. There is multi-lock, multi-block, lightning block. All of those things need to be turned on. There are certain blade styles as well that you need to turn on if you want to use them. I tend to leave them turned off because I don't find them particularly helpful. So yeah, that's the stock configuration of this. Let's pop a blade in. This comes with a 36-inch blade as standard. 36-inch I think is probably the right length for this saber. It's a long saber in the Ahsoka TV series. It's 2 retention screws at 90 degrees from each other, or under 90 degrees from each other. That's perfect. That blade's going nowhere. This is an orangey red blade. I think this is one of the Inquisitor blades that I've chosen. Or one of the Inquisitor fonts on here. I think it's I can't remember what it's called now, but it gives you an idea. But you also have gesture control on here and plenty of other blade options. The master, the green blade, different sounds. So there are 32 different different sound fonts that you can go through. This is a more red blade. Actually, the red blades are looking quite orange as I look at them now. As you know, Baylan Skoll has an orange blade, so yeah. Okay, so that's the standard configuration. So what I'm going to do now is remove the blade and show you the blade plug I'm going to use with this. So this is a episode 4 Darth Vader blade plug from Saber Armory. I think it fits the aesthetic of this lightsaber quite nicely, so I'm going to be using this one. This one's actually borrowed from my from my episode 2 Anakin saber at the moment. I have one on order. Didn't know what blade size was coming until today when this arrived. It's a 36-inch long blade, but it's a 7/8 inch diameter blade, so it's the thinner of the blades. There's the blade plug in place. I think this one looks just right for this saber, really. So I have another one of those on order that will be arriving soon, specifically for this lightsaber. Have a whole video on blade plugs. Effectively, they're really aesthetic things. They do serve a purpose in terms of stopping debris and things going down into the blade socket when there's no blade in place. But other than that, they're just there to make the thing look prettier. It's lit. You can see the light around the edges of it. I think that's a really nice blade plug for this saber. So what we're going to do now is open this up. I'm going to change the battery and the SD card, and then we're going to connect it to the app and update it. So to get into the core of this saber, the handle undoes. This is a new removable core system. Very, very nice, very compact. Now has a kill key if you want to use that. I'm just going to turn this saber off. We have a little operating button here. That's actually independent of the button on here. As you can see, well, as you probably can't see because I've turned this on now, the top of this saber, this core has a set of pins, and they connect to a connector in the top of the saber, and that has the switch and the emitter connections all go through there. So let's just turn this core off. You can see the light flashing there. That's that countdown light that I was talking about before. Keep the button held down,
Power off.
and the saber says power off. The light goes out. There's no power running through this now. If you want to make sure, you can just hit the kill key as well now. So first things first, we'll take the battery out. It's interesting to see that these now come with a grey wrapped battery. It's exactly the same spec as the old purple ones that used to come through, but it's now got a grey wrap on it. It's probably a little bit nicer, but the same battery. So with the battery out, I'm now going to remove the original SD card, and I'm going to pop in the new SD card. I'm hoping all this is going to work. I haven't tried any of this up until now, but as far as I'm aware, I should be able to put this SD card in and just have everything work. So this SD card has my custom settings file. There's a number of things in there. One of my more recent videos was on a set of custom sound system sounds for Nexus Sabers that give you the sound of Huyang. So things like when you turn the saber, when you connect the saber to the app, we'll hear Huyang say that the data pad is connected. I also put in custom startup and shutdown sounds, which are the character that the saber is for, making a quote. And this one has two Baylan Skoll specific sound fonts on it, one from KSith and one from Kyberphonic. You can find this in the description where you can find those sound fonts. There are links in the description to both KSith and Kyberphonic. Looking at the core, it's nice now we have the kill switch if you want to use that. We have a charging port. The kill switch is more important when you've got a Profi, because without a kill switch, Profi will drain the battery while it's not in use. The Nexus boards, as far as I'm aware, don't do that. You can leave them on and they don't drain. All of these have batteries in them, and all of they are is just in the deep sleep mode, and the batteries last a really long time between charges. We do have a charging port on here. This is a really nice core. This is a step up from previous Nexus cores, I think, really. So the battery I'm going to put in here, you won't be able to see the details of it because I've put a custom battery wrap on it from Saber Armory. Do this with all of my batteries, makes them look a little bit more Star Wars. But this is a Keypower 18650 battery, 3000 milliamp hour and 15 amp continuous discharge rating. So not quite as high a milliamp hour as the standard battery that comes with it. I think that's a 3600, but a higher ampage rating, which will ensure that you get the best output from the LEDs in the blade. The ones that come with it are 10 amp, this one is 15 amp. So I'm just going to pop this battery in. Then I can knock off the kill switch and hit the button.
Something calls to me. Don't you hear it?
So now, as a startup sound, we've got Baylan Skoll. And I should have all of my gesture controls and things on here. I hadn't noticed that before. There are now accent lights down the sides of this as well. This is a really nice core. This is an awesome core. So yeah, we'll pop this back into the Saber. I'm going to turn it off to do that. You hear now the bleeping on the button.
I lost that a long time ago.
And we've got Baylan Skoll as an exit sound as well. So to put it back together, you don't have to align anything. You put the core in the handle and you screw the top back on. And then we'll turn it back on using this button.
Something calls to me. Don't you hear it?
We've got Baylan Skoll. This first sound font is the Kyberphonic one. I think this is called Skull Sun. We'll go through these with the blade on it at some point as well. And the second one,
Baylan Skoll.
is the KSith font. Which I think is called Master Skull. If you go to their websites, it's very clear which ones are the Baylan Skoll fonts. They both have his name in. Okay, right, that's locked itself up. This may be because I
lost that a long time ago.
I haven't actually updated this. The SD card is taken from a saber that has been updated to the latest software, so it may be freezing up because of that. So let's have a look at updating the software on this saber.
Something calls to me. Can't you hear it?
So we've turned the saber on, and now if we look here, we can see the saber is there. We'll confirm that we want to.
Connected to datapad.
So that's Huyang now saying connected to datapad. It's asking me if I want to pair because it's the first time I've done this. So I say yes to that. And then if we go up to here, you can see at the moment it's called Saber. So I'm going to rename it. Just turning this so that I can see what I'm doing a little bit. So I'm going to call this B. Excuse me, because I'm typing at an angle here so that hopefully you can see this. So we're going to call this one Baylan Skoll. And if we save that, now our saber name is Baylan Skoll. And as I was saying before, we can see, look, the software is actually on version 1.2.2, which is what I was expecting it to be. So if we click on that, it should tell us that there's a newer version of the software available. There is a software available. Would I like to upgrade now? I will update. This may take a few moments, but this is showing you now how easy it is to update the software on here. So as you can see, this is taking a little while to update. Maybe my wireless connection is slowing down the update somewhat. So what I may well cut through this so that you don't have to sit and watch a timing bar, because this is going to probably take a little while. So what I will do is stop the video here, and we'll come back when the update has completed itself. Okay, so the update is very close to being complete now. When it does complete, it will load the software onto the saber. The saber will say upgrading.
Beginning update.
So it's beginning the update actually on the saber now.
Update successful.
And the update has been successful. It's still showing 1.2.2 there, because if you notice at the bottom, the saber's off now, it's been disconnected. So we'll turn the saber back on.
Something calls to me. Can't you hear it?
The saber's back on, and if we connect,
Connected to datapad. Connected to datapad.
okay, if you get this problem happen,
Connected to datapad.
which can happen from time to time, you need to go into your Bluetooth settings. You'll see your saber will either come up as Damien Saber or Saber, and you need to forget the device and restart the app. Now when I try to connect, it will connect, and we can see now we've got version 1.2.5 of the software, which is the latest update. So this is now all updated and ready to go. Set up as I like it. So I'll pop the blade back in and we'll show you some more with the new Baylan Skoll fonts that I have on here. Big old 36-inch blade, which is not going to stay in frame at all, I doubt. So, 2 Baylan Skoll sound fonts on here. Tried to get an orangey red blade. Not much room to swing these around in here. Have all the normal things, blaster blocks, flash on clash, lock up. We should have melt, which will change the colour at the tip of the blade as it goes round. And we might get lightning block if we're lucky. There we go, there's lightning block. Also have multi-block on here.
Enter multi-block mode.
So this is a mode whereby now when I move the saber it will automatically blast a block. You access that by pressing the button and swinging the saber.
Exit multi-block mode.
It goes off by doing the same thing. I did say I'd show you where all of these things are on the app so that you can find them. Okay, so the app is disconnected.
Connected to datapad.
So we're connected again, and if we go into here, you can see we have countdown, motion control, flash on clash. These are all on off switches for those. There is sensitivity for the flash on clash. Motor speed, you can now have a motor for rotating a chamber crystal chamber. Power on time, that's how long you have to press the button to power on from deep sleep, and power off time is how long you have to press the button to power down into deep sleep, and an auto deep sleep setting. And then we have all of these additional features. So these are to do with pre-on light effects. If you can now have the Xeno3 set up as 2-button, but the ones we're particularly interested in for a basic setup are velocity mode, torch mode, ghost mode, lightning block mode, which I have on, blaster mode, multi-block mode, which I have on. You saw that, that's the multiple where it will respond to movement with a blaster block. And multi-lock mode is one that's similar, but it will lock up whenever you clash. So those are your basic settings. Go into the motion controls. So I don't have pull and push on and off on, but these are still important settings because they will control things like the stab, the melt and the lightning block. So you need to set the sensitivity on those. Twist on and off I have on. Twist on and off will also set sensitivity for things like the force effects, which are important if, like me, you use quotes instead of the force effects. It will trigger the quotes. and then swing on I don't have on, but again, that sensitivity can affect how hard you have to swing for things like the blaster block, multi-block, to be activated. So there's basic stuff on the lightsaber. We go back to the main screen. You can see we now have got Baylan Skoll as the name for this lightsaber. We've got 97% on the battery. You can change the colours if you're interested in the colour setup that I have on this. The orange I've chosen for Baylan Skoll is 255 red, 10 green and 0 blue. All nice stuff. There's so much you can do on the app now. As you can see, you can update the firmware, you can adjust the blade length, you can adjust the blade brightness, all sorts of things that you can do on here. The one thing you do get with Sabers from Padawan Outpost now is a manual that covers the use of this app. The app's available on Android and on iOS. But what we're going to do now, I'm going to disconnect the app. And we'll have another look at the lightsaber.
Connected to data pad.
Okay. What I'm going to do with that is go into here and disconnect. Okay. And then we'll turn the iPad off and we'll go back to the saber. So I mentioned quotes. If you want to see how I set up quotes, you need to check out my videos on Xeno3 setup. This has quotes from Baylan Skoll now.
You and I share a common goal. There's no need for bloodshed.
Blaster blocks. See if we can get the other.
Baylan Skoll. The enemy of our enemy is our friend.
Quotes again. Blaster block. Flash on clash. Stab. Lots of functionality to this. With the saber off, you've got control over the volume. You can also control the volume more granularly from the app, but you get 3 settings on here. It's the button bleeping there now.
Maximum volume.
So this is the high volume. Tends to be where I have it. I have a few hearing problems, so I like it loud.
Minimum volume.
Low volume. And again, you can hear Hu Yang announcing the volume. Mute is no volume at all, which is nice in some situations.
Maximum volume.
I'm going to go back to maximum volume. So that's the Baylan Skoll. It's a brand new design from the Ahsoka TV series. So this one is in Xeno3 Pixel, and it's the weathered version. The more time I spend with this saber, the more I like it. It's really great. I'm loving it. yeah, I can't praise it highly enough. I bought this on Cyber Monday sales. Given how the volume of sales that were being made, it took a little bit longer to get to me. Today's the Friday after Cyber Monday, and it arrived today at just about 10 o'clock this morning. So not bad at all, given the time of year it is. Padawan Outpost still doing a great job on customer service. I did find with this one came in a slightly smaller cardboard box than I have been getting from Padawan Outpost. Previously, when I've bought Sabers from them, there have been add-ins like saber stands and blade plugs. This didn't come with any of these. Comes with the basics that you need. So there's a pack of screws and Allen keys. There's a charging cable, and there's an SD card reader. But there isn't anything much more than that in the package. That said, this was a little bit cheaper than a lot of Sabers that I've bought from Padawan Outpost. I think with the 10% off that I got for Cyber Monday, this cost me £252. It's really not bad at all for a character Xeno Pixel lightsaber. I absolutely love it. I'm going to turn it on once more and turn it off so that you can hear Baylan saying his farewell quote.
Faith. I lost that a long time ago.
And with that sad sound from Baylan Skoll, we'll bring this video to an end. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're enjoying the content, and hitting the notification bell so that you get notified of when new videos come up. I think we recently broke through 600 subscriptions on the channel, which is amazing. As I've said in other videos, the channel is completely self-funded. I don't accept free items for review or anything like that. I'm not connected with any particular brand or store. I do reviews on the things I buy for myself. This may well end up becoming part of a cosplay for me. I'm considering doing a Baylan Skoll cosplay. That will be a little way in the future. I'm still kind of researching some of the details around that. But anyway, I'm beginning to waffle now and talk about things that might or might not happen. So we'll bring things to an end there, and that just leaves me to say cheerio everyone.